Hey YouTubers, welcome to Ignition Wrestling, my brand new channel. I am the Gavmeister and this is my first ever Raw review. So, should we just dive right in? It's the best way to go, I think. Raw started today with Vicky Guerrero announcing the main event for tonight. It's going to be World Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio against the WWE Champion John Cena. Throughout the night they did these sort of paying homage to former champions such as like Bob Backlund, Dusty Rhodes, Bruno Sammartino, among many other, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I thought this was a good way to build up the main event, you know, to show the lineage of these titles. But the only problem I have with this is you have all these former great champions and then you suddenly compare them to John Cena and Alberto Del Rio. While neither of these wrestlers even compare to these past champions, and it's a bit of a just makes you feel like, wow, you know, we have all these great champions and this is how far we've fallen. You know, not that I have a huge problem with them, it's just it made these two guys seem crap in comparison. Anyway, Raw opens with Daniel Bryan after fresh from his win over Randy Orton last week. He comes to the ring, you know, he's basically doing his usual stuff, you know. Am I the weak link? No. Am I going to win the Money in the Bank? Yes. Typical D-Bry stuff. Pretty decent stuff until he's interrupted by Sheamus, and then you have Christian coming out, CM Punk, Randy Orton, you know, all the members of the Money in the Bank All-Stars match. This is a back and forth between everyone, basically saying, I'm going to win the Money in the Bank, no, I'm going to win the Money in the Bank. Back and forth, what you expect. Pretty solid opener. I like all the guys in the Money in the Bank All-Stars match. Although I usually prefer the Money in the Bank to be for upcoming mid-carders, should I say, who you want to give that push into the main event. But I have no problem with this match, considering that this has the chance to be a really good match, maybe even match of the year up to this point. You know, it might end up being pretty average, but I got big things for this match. I really do believe it's going to be good, and good opener. And it ends with Randy Orton giving the RKO to Kane, and then everyone sort of backing away, and the segment ends there. Moving on. The next match was Shield versus the Usos and Christian. This was a standard back and forth 6-man tag match. Wasn't great, wasn't terrible. Pretty standard Raw match, but I enjoyed it. And it ends with the Shield getting the win on Christian. Dean Ambrose pinning Christian when Seth Rollins hangs Christian up on the ropes and Dean Ambrose rolls up Christian for the win. I'll give you my quick feelings. I really like the Shield, although I like the three young guys, but the only problem I have is their wow factor's sort of wearing off at the moment. They're not doing anything interesting, and it's getting a bit boring now, the whole act. But I really do like these guys, especially Ambrose. They all have great futures, and this match was pretty good. It furthered the storyline between the tag team champions versus the Usos, and also maybe carrying on and laying the foundations for a Christian versus Ambrose US title feud, which I have no problem with. Christian at his age should be putting over young, upcoming, decent heels because he's a pretty good mid-card face, and yeah, I enjoyed this. This brings us to some backstage stuff with Daniel Bryan and Kane. Daniel Bryan says he's got a surprise for Kane and gives him a rematch against Randy Orton, and Kane's like, yeah, thanks for that actually makes me happy. You know, it's a typical backstage segment, didn't really serve much purpose other than setting up the match between Randy Orton and Kane, which is a rematch from SmackDown in which Randy Orton won with the RKO on Kane through a Bryan accidental distraction. Yeah, not much to say about this, but this brings us on to the next match, which is Dolph Ziggler versus Jinder Mahal. None of you guys know yet, but I'm a huge Dolph fan, and it's about fucking time they turned him face. And it's been long coming. The fans want to get behind Ziggler, and his heel run had run its course, so I'm really glad they're doing this change with Dolph. The only problem is, he's facing Jinder Mahal, a complete jobber. Dolph needs some credible wins over some strong mid-card heels or faces, and he's not going to gain credibility by beating jobbers. But it's hard to be really annoyed at this segment or this match, because I think the whole idea behind the match was showing Dolph's athleticism. Because after he gets the win with the zigzag on Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater go to attack him. Dolph's running out the ring. He's jumping on the steps, jumping over Slater's head. Drew McIntyre goes to clothesline him. He ducks. He accidentally hits, Jinder Mahal, and then Dolph gives Drew the zigzag. And yeah, I think they're trying to show this new personality and athleticism of Dolph Ziggler. So I don't have a huge problem with it. Dolph ends up jumping on the commentator's desk, doing his usual pose, showing off. And the segment ends there. And yeah, solid stuff. But I hope to see Dolph coming up against higher people on the card from now on. Now we have some backstage stuff with CM Punk, Paul Heyman and Curtis Axel. Just some standard stuff with CM Punk saying he trusts Paul Heyman, but he doesn't trust Curtis Axel. And just tells Curtis Axel to stay out of his way, and he's going to beat up the primetime players on his own. Just a bit of interaction before their match with the primetime players later on. Solid stuff on the mic from Punk and Heyman. Pretty much what you expect, and yeah, not much to say about it really. And this brings us to Sheamus versus Fandungo. I'm not going to say his name because it's fucking stupid and I can't stand him, so yeah, I don't care if you don't like that. But standard back and forth match. People hate Sheamus. I actually think he's very underrated, especially in the ring. For a big guy, he is very athletic, and he puts on entertaining matches. I don't know any big guy who puts on as many good matches as Sheamus does, even though his character is a bit boring and stale at the moment. But yeah, you expect Sheamus to go over Fandango here, with a bro kick as it usually does, but Fandango escapes, and Sheamus wins by count out. Are they sort of setting up a Sheamus as Fandango feud? I don't think so. This was just to make up time on Raw. But yeah, we'll see what comes of it, I suppose. Okay guys, this brings us to The Miz versus Ryback. Now, I'll start this off by saying I'm not a fan of Ryback. I don't like his in-ring style. I think there's other big men that perform it better, such as Sheamus and John Cena, who I aren't crazy about either, but at least they play the role well. I don't like his mic work, I don't like his ring work, he gets gassed quickly. He's just not entertaining on any level, in my opinion. However, I understand that some people would find him entertaining, so I sort of understand his push considering his size and the fact that his Feed Me More chant was seriously over. Now, what seriously pisses me off is this is a standard match. Miz works over his leg a little bit, and Ryback ends up quitting the match, saying he can't continue. He gives up and stops the match against The Miz. I'm talking Ryback here. Former unstoppable monster gives up against The Miz. How fucking pathetic is that? What are they doing to this character? He was seriously over with this Feed Me More crap, and he was becoming a reasonably good star despite being pushed too early. So they decide to turn him heel and turn him into a pussy just to feed him to John fucking Cena. This is absolutely fucking ridiculous, and the booking behind this is absolutely pathetic. I have no idea why they're doing this, but are they trying to do some sort of thing with Ryback where he goes on this losing streak and then they hit the reset button on him? He gets this win over Jericho at the Money in the Bank, and all of a sudden he goes on this big winning streak or something like that. I don't know, but what I do know is this match was fucking stupid. The whole Ryback booking is fucking stupid, and yeah, Miz wins. Jericho gives him the code breaker after the match, which kind of sucked as well. This whole thing sucked. Okay, rant over. Righty dokie, this brings us to the Mark Henry promo. Again, Mark Henry comes out to the ring, calls everyone puppets, standard promo. You know what you're going to get from Mark Henry these days. He is fucking quality on the mic. Where has he been all these years? His run as World Heavyweight Champion was absolutely fucking awesome, like last year or whatever it was. His retirement promo, God, he was fucking good. He was so convincing. I sort of saw it coming, the whole retirement thing, because I won't go into the details of it, but I knew he wasn't really retiring, and this was all to set up a John Cena versus Mark Henry feud. But yeah, it was, take nothing away from Mark Henry. He is absolutely fucking golden on that microphone. He is very, very good, and this was standard Henry stuff. Yeah, but moving on, we come to CM Punk and Curtis Axel versus the Prime Time Players. Okay, before I get into it, I really, really, really like the Prime Time Players. I don't understand why they're heel. These guys are very, very entertaining, in my opinion. Darren Young's a bit shitty on the mic, and Titus O'Neil is a bit crappy in the ring. But Darren Young's pretty good in the ring, and Titus O'Neil is really good on the mic, and they counterbalance each other really, really well. And I love this. Millions of dollars. I love all that stuff. I think they're brilliant. They should be faces, and they should be competing for the tag team championships, in my opinion. But yeah, Curtis Axel and CM Punk end up winning this match when CM Punk hits the go to sleep on Darren Young, but Curtis Axel tags himself in and gets the pin and steals CM Punk's victory and celebrates with Paul Heyman. I thought this was pretty good, the way Curtis Axel just stole his victory like that, leaving CM Punk pissed off. But yeah, it's furthering on this CM Punk, Paul Heyman, Curtis Axel, and sort of Brock Lesnar thing they've got going on. I don't exactly know the sort of angle they're going. They're going to break CM Punk up away from Paul Heyman, but I like the fact they're not doing it straight away, and they're sort of building up to it slowly before that big thing that finally happens. So yeah, nothing but good things to say about this. Now we have Kaitlyn versus Alicia Fox. This was a standard Divas match. Didn't last long. It ends with Kaitlyn getting the spear on Alicia Fox and winning the match. And then we have AJ coming out after the match and cutting a promo. Basically, she said she found some of Kaitlyn's old model photos, and it's basically Kaitlyn's head photoshopped on a fat woman's body. This was fucking stupid, as was the fucking one last week where she was dressed up as Kaitlyn, all being manly. It was fucking stupid. I know AJ is really, really popular among the internet. At least she seems to be, from what research I've done. I can't fucking stand her. She's a terrible, terrible actress. She cannot act for shit, and she ruins pretty much every segment she's in. Not only this, but she should be a fucking face. She's a small little geek. She shouldn't be fucking being a psycho slut heel. It's fucking ridiculous if you ask me. But yeah, shitty segment, average match. I fucking hated this. Now we have Cody Rhodes versus Antonio Cesaro and Zeb Coulter, with the returning Jack Swagger at ringside. They've created a new stable with Zeb Coulter, Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger now. I'm not really a huge fan of either guy. I mean, I respect Antonio Cesaro's ring work. He is very, very, very good. But I'm just not a big fan of his mic work. I'm not a fan of anything Jack Swagger does, aside from his awesome theme song. But yeah, Antonio Cesaro beats Cody Rhodes in like 3 minutes. This is stupid. I really, really, really like Cody Rhodes. I like second generation superstars. They've just been around. They've been around the business that little bit longer, and they sort of know a little bit more, and they have that little bit more experience, which can make them be a little bit more successful. So I like that about Cody. Not only that, he's had a mustache gimmick, a fucking mask gimmick, a dashing gimmick, and he's made them all work, despite most of them being pretty crappy. But he just somehow makes them work. work. I really like Cody Rhodes, and I feel he deserves a push, but he's stuck in this tag team with Damien Sandow, who I also quite like, but yeah, it doesn't look like he's going places soon, which is a shame because I really like him. But yeah, standard match, I didn't really like it because it was pretty much a squash match with Cody losing pretty quickly. But this seems to be pushing the breakup between Cody and Sandow, because Sandow sort of gave Cody this look after the match. But yeah, I didn't really like this, and it quite pissed me off, to be honest. But if it leads to the breakup of Cody and Sandow, then I'm all for it. Okay, main event time. We have WWE Champion John Cena versus the World Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio in a pretty solid match. It wasn't great, it wasn't bad. It was your typical Del Rio versus John Cena match, which we have seen quite a few times before. I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. It was typical standard stuff. But yeah, and it ends with Mark Henry coming down to the ring to distract John Cena when he's got the STF on Alberto Del Rio. John Cena ends up releasing it, and this allows Alberto Del Rio to get the upper hand. And just when Alberto Del Rio is going for the crossarm breaker, Ziggler runs in, jumps on the top rope, and distracts Alberto Del Rio, which allows Cena to pick up the win with the AA. You know, typical standard match. Why did John Cena have to fucking win again? This is really annoying me now. He has to win every fucking match, and it really pisses me off. But yeah, whatever. At least it furthered two storylines. With Ziggler getting in Del Rio's head again and costing him the match, but which I had no problem with. And then you have Mark Henry coming, picking up the WWE title belt, coming in the ring, you know, moving towards Cena and scaring him, and then laughing, which I quite enjoyed, to be honest. Mark Henry's playing with John Cena, and yeah, I like this. But yeah, he ends up chucking the belt at him and walking out, and Raw ends right there, which it seemed a bit of an anticlimax, but yeah, the go home show's next week, so I didn't have a huge problem with this. But then Raw didn't end there. It goes back to the commentator's desk, and they reveal that Bray Wyatt is debuting next week, and Raw ends with a Bray Wyatt promo. Now I'll tell you right now, guys, I've been following Bray Wyatt, or Husky Harris, whatever you want to call him, for a year or two now, since he first started this gimmick in FCW and the NXT, and I think he is fucking brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant on that microphone, one of the best in the company already. I'm really looking forward to this, and I really hope they don't blow it, because this is awesome. I really like him. And yeah, we know Vince must be high on Bray Wyatt if Raw ends with the Wyatt family and not John Cena. That's got to say something. But yeah, my final thoughts on this Raw, it was shit, to be honest. It had its good moments, you know, some okay moments. The CM Punk match, the Bray Wyatt promos, the opener was okay, and I didn't mind the Dolph Ziggler stuff. But yeah, the crowd was absolutely dead the whole night. They really sucked the life out of this Raw, and I found it really hard to enjoy. This is probably the worst Raw I've seen for a long time, considering the last two Raws were pretty good. But yeah, let's hope next week's Raw is a lot better. But yeah, that's it for this edition of Wrestling Ignition. I am your host, the Gaffmeister, for my first ever Raw review. But come back, and my Money in the Bank preview / predictions will be up very soon. So see you later, guys.